Hello everyone, it's Caitlin, and today we are recovering books to make period cookbooks. Alright, so let's get started. It's like the fourth or fifth one I've done. We're going to make a cookbook, basically. So I have here an already done book. It's just not right, but I like the pages inside of it. It has lines, nice white color that's not too bright white, so it's easy to read. So I'm going to take it apart. I bought these books off Amazon. I think they came in a pack of 5 or 6. And you just peel the end paper away from the first page. Just lightly glued on. And there you go. So now we have our little book. Heavy strained pieces of glue, but it's okay. We have our book. So I personally kind of like to use the board that's already in here, if possible. And I'm going to take it apart. And just in case we're not clear, this is not a period way of doing books. This is just an easy way to do books. To recover them anyway. Try and get all that, well, it's not leather, but the fake stuff off. An X-Acto knife does come in handy. If you have one handy, which I don't. I'm sure I have one somewhere, I just don't feel like searching for it. Alright, and get the other side and we can start putting this thing together. Alrighty, so next step. We have everything kind of cleaned off. There are my book boards, and then I have the paper little booklet part. And so what you're going to do now is kind of set the book boards a little bit farther apart. You want to make sure that the hole in between that is the width of your book plus about 1/4 inch on each side. A little bit more if you want your book board to hang over a little bit more, but I think I want about 1/4 inch, so that should be good. Now I'm going to measure across, which is 11 1/4 inches. You want to add about 1 inch on each side. I'm going to go for 13 inches wide, 8 1/2 inches tall. Let's go with 10 inches tall. So 13 by 10 is what I'm going to cut. I'm doing this with marble paper. So I'm actually doing 2 books. So paper number 1. Alrighty. This is one that has a definite up and down, so that's up this way. So I'll make sure that this is the 13 and this is the 10. And here's the gap. Alright, I'm going to use the straight edge to measure this. So, hey, rude. 13 inches. Mark 13. Mark 13 a little bit up here. Mark 10 here, and mark 10 here somewhere. I'll line up my marks. Make a line. Would y'all quit fighting, please? Alright, so now I have one of my pieces. Charmer, it's none of your business to get involved in the cat fight. That's how you get bit. And now I'm just going to cut on my line. Save this because we're going to come back to it. But now we're going to glue this down. Go ahead. I'm using pH neutral PVA for bookbinding. This is the type of adhesive I'm using. So pour a little bit on there. I like to use a brush. And make sure that it's everywhere. And press it down. Now on this side, what I do like to do is, I have this little, I think I bought it on Amazon, but it's a little bookbinding tool set. But, so it has these little things to make sure you get all the bubbles off of it. There's one right there that I can get rid of. Okay. Just really press down on it. Okay. That's good. We're going to do the same thing on this side, except we do need to mark where we want this to be from here, because this part now matters. So I said I wanted about 1/4 inch. Actually, just gonna measure this. Would the kitty sees this shiny blinking dot that's on the camera screen? That's roughly not quite 1/2 inch. Now mine has these rounded corners, so I am trying to make sure that they get on the outside of the book and the straight ones go on the inside. I need to put glue on this side. And again, we're going to, oops, there is a bubble in the middle of that one. Where'd my little bone thing go? There it is. Put it on the ground. And press all the air bubbles out as best you can. Put glue around the edges. I'm going to cut in this corner a little bit. All the corners. So corners are easy. You fold that part in, and then you fold this part in. Corners. And you're pressing all that down. Sometimes I find it easier to go over with the glue on top as well. Really make sure that's in. Any bits that are coming up, just glue it down. There you go. And then put some glue over top. Problem solved. Okay. So now we have what actually looks like a book. Now I am going to put some leather in the corners and then on the spine, of course on the other side, but yeah. That's what we're going to do now. So I have this black stuff. Corners. Better to cut them a little too large than a little too small. I'm going to cut them diagonally. Alright. Where it helps kind of surface to work on. Oh, I've still got some air bubbles in there. It's okay. We're going to put them in the corner like this. So determine how far out you want them. I said about 1 inch. So I'm going to go ahead and mark an inch. I'm going to put some glue. And just to that inch mark. In here, just like that. Do the same thing on all 4 corners. So mark an inch out. Glue down. Put the leather and make sure you cover your mark. I like to really get glue like down in the corners too. It seems to help. And we're going to do the same thing of sort of cutting off this corner. You don't want to cut off as much as you cut with the paper. I'm just going to fold this end in. You might find that you need to put glue on this side of the leather as well. And you're probably going to need to hold this until it dries, or have clippies. Alright, I thought I was recording and I wasn't, so we missed the next part. But basically what I did is I decided how much of the black I wanted in the middle. So this was an inch already. I started off thinking 3 inches, like 1 inch on either side. And I said it wasn't quite enough, so I ended up cutting it 4 inches wide by 10 inches, which of course was the height. And I glued it on, and so this is what our book is going to look like. So now we're just about ready to actually add in the pages. I have some book ribbon, and I'm going to go ahead and cut just a little bit here. Okay. We're going to put a little bit of glue at the top of our book. And we're going to stick that on, just so the ribbon part is sticking out from the top. And do the same thing on this side. And now we're just going to stick it in here basically. So I already kind of marked where it needs to go, on some of the bottom here. And I'm only going to put glue where I want it to stick, which is right down the center. Okay. And we're going to, you really do want to make sure that it's even from end to end. Stick it right in there and press down. And let that dry, and then we need to do end papers. Alright, so it is very nearly dry. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is the end papers. So what I need to do is measure the exact height of my book, which for me I believe is 8 1/4. 8 1/4. And then I'm going to measure across the whole thing and add maybe like 1/2 inch or so. Maybe a little more. Let's see. It's at 3/4. So let me just make it 11. So I need 8 1/2 by 11, and I need 2 of them. I'm sorry. 17, and I have 17 inches, right? Okay, cool. Ooh, that's almost exactly 17 inches. Make sure, really get it in those corners, because that seems to be a hard place to get glue. So, definitely want to make sure that matches first. We're going to pull until basically it just reach around these corners. I'm going to do that before it's just going to slightly round off the corners. Make it look nice. Really get those corners. And you can use your fingers, it does work in theory. Easier with a tool. And then I'm going to cut off the excess. Now I did do this a little crooked, so I'm going to have to cut that out. There you go. So now I have the other side to do the exact same way, and we'll have a finished book. Alright, I'm working on the second book. This is the paper I'm using for this one, which is quite pretty. I don't know. Blue and greens are my favorite colors, so maybe that's why I like this one. But I didn't show you, well, I forgot to film that one strip, so I'm going to do that now. so you get, you know, all the steps filmed. So I'm at the point where I've put the glue on, or I put the book board on the paper. I did the corners, so all 4 corners are done. And I have my little strip that's 11 inches by 4 inches. Let me go ahead and put glue all over it. You really want to go all the way to the edges with this. Extra sure. Now it's easier if this isn't like doing what it's doing, which is kind of fold in on itself. But you want it to kind of be even. Just like that. Fold the ends over. It's not quite straight. There we go. I'm going to put our glue in the middle. I really like that. That's just really pretty. Alright, let me go ahead and stick the glue on here. Do it in papers. Here we are. So we got the books done. They actually turned out really well. I am very happy with them. I actually like the pink one a lot more than I thought I would. I'm not usually a huge fan of pink. I almost didn't pick that marble paper because I don't even know why I bought it in the first place. I've had it for years, but anyway, I almost didn't pick it because I didn't think I'd like it, but I actually really like it, especially with the black. I think it looks really good. And of course, the blue one's just gorgeous because, yeah, I like those colors. Anyway, so I've been writing in the pink one all morning long, so my hand really hurts, but I got lots of recipes written down in there, which is awesome. Kind of randomly. Sometimes I don't have recipes, I just have I had the chapters labeled at the very least if I didn't write down any recipes, but I wrote down some of the important ones. I haven't gotten to this one yet, but I will eventually. I need this one first, so I wrote down the recipes I needed and then filled in some to make it look like I have more written in the book, but this one will be next. This is probably going to be the one I'm going to use most often, at least out of the two. I just don't need it now. I needed this one. So overall, they're adorable. They worked really well. I color code them, so I have 2 others already made that, and I just know what time period they are based on the color. So I didn't have to do any lettering or writing on the covers themselves to tell me what time period each of the cookbooks are. I just know this is 1850s, this is 1860s. My green one's 1830s. The blue one that is blue and brown is 1870s. So that's kind of how I do that. I have experimented with actual making gold lettering on books, and I managed to do it a couple of times. I have not managed to do it on leather. I have managed to do it on a fabric cover, and it worked. It was very time consuming, annoying. Here comes the kitten. But it did work. So I could very well print something on the spines, but now that it's on the book, I wouldn't be able to do that. It would have to be before I made up the book, but I haven't done that in years. But honestly, I'm very happy with how they turned out. I might have to make up a few more for like a journal or something. I need to get some smaller books because at events sometimes I like to have things written down for, for me to remember that, oh, next time I need to remember to bring such and such. Just a smaller book. I just need to go find some smaller pages really, and I can make up books. Probably with the scraps of the papers because I have so much scrap of this now that's not going to be enough to actually do any other type of book that's anywhere near this size. So a little tiny notebook type thing would be a good thing to have. But I'm glad I got them done, something I definitely needed to have done. Thank you so much for joining me, and have a fantastic week, and I'll see you back on Monday.